Name. So, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is safe amidst this COVID-19 situation. So, um, we shall be explaining this game of NIM. This game of NIM is a mathematical game of strategy, and it is one of the important games as far as game theory is concerned. And it is an impartial game, and it is also a basis for fundamental theorems in game theory. So, coming back to what the game is about, can you switch to next slide, Rahul? Yeah, so these are the team members and who've been a part of this team for making the presentation and the code on game theory, the game of NIM. Next. So the rules of game, what the game is actually, it's a board game and it comprises of five number of rows, which each having certain number of stars. So each player takes a turn and can remove one or more than one star from a particular heap or particular row. He is allowed to remove stars only from one particular row, and the player who removes the last star is the winner. So this is the base how the game is. So the player who removes the last star is the winner, and you can only remove one. You can remove one or more stars, but from the same row at each of the steps.
All right.
So yeah. So how we have approached this game? We have this building of this game has been done in bottom up manner. So first we have built the building blocks of the game and then the game itself. So the building blocks are the game utilities and IO utilities. So game utilities deals with the the things that are in the game or on the board the functions of the game, and IO utilities deals with the input and output related to the game. And the game of NIM itself is the final code which we have built using these game utilities and IO utilities to run the game. So Rahul can show the game, for instance, how it takes place.
Okay. My screen is visible?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I run the code.
So this is player number one. He enters the row number and how many. So let's say the row number is 3 or 2, let's say, and the stars to remove.
Okay.
Then the player number 2 takes his turn, and as in the last player to remove the star is the winner of the game.
Okay.
So further, the game utilities will be explained by Anusha.
Hello everyone. Now let's discuss about the game utilities. First is we are talking about next function. It's like who is taking next turn to play the game. So next function, it will take integer as an input and gives an integer as an output. So the first, if player 1 is playing, next function will give 2. And the same goes with when second player is playing, next function will give you 1 as an output. Next slide, please. And now we'll define the board. We are defining board as a type which contains a list of integers, and we are initializing them here by using an initial function. Here I'm initializing all those with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. These are number of stars which are present in that board. And to check whether the game is finished or not, we are using finished function, which takes board as an input and it will return a Boolean function. It means here we have used all, which it will check with entire list is empty or not. Based on that, it will return true or false.
So what is the type of all?
So
What is the type of all?
type of all.
Yeah.
It will. It's like a. It works like a predicate. I mean, it will take a function and also an list. It will
Okay.
apply all these predicate on that list, and it will. It's like addition of all those outputs,
Mm-hmm.
and it will return.
A bool.
It will return a
So I think can you write all using a folder, let's say
folder.
fold and yeah,
No,
and the filter probably. Yeah.
sorry, sir. Folder and filter.
Yeah. You can use write all using a fold and filter. You can filter the board using the predicate and then just fold it using just and send it.
Okay, sir.
Yeah,
So,
continue.
okay, sir. Next. And next here is a valid function. Here as we are inputting number of row and number of stars we want to remove. So we have to check whether those number of stars are present in that particular row or not. So we are using valid function. Here you can see board exclamations here, which is nothing but it will give you the number which is present in a particular index. As we are using one starting from one, our rows are starting from one, but our indexes is from 0, so we're using row minus 1 here. And once it will output the number of stars present in it, it will check with the number which we gave as an input, and then it will say whether it is valid number
Yeah.
or not.
Okay.
Okay, next. Once after we check the valid number, we'll make the update by using move function. It will take board and 2 integers as an input and will return board. First here it is doing list comprehension. First we are for that board, as we are having 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we are zipping it with row numbers which is starting from 1. So each will that zip will return a tuple. So it will have a row number and number of stars in it. Then we are updating it. In updating function has first we'll check that row number whether it is matching with it, and then we'll update this. We'll remove those many stars and we'll update the board.
So where do you use valid?
So no,
Where did you use valid?
in the main function we'll use it. First we'll validate, then the move function will be done. These are just utility functions we are
All right.
using in
So all right. So you are checking. Okay. When the user enters the move, then you check for valid and then you update. Yeah.
Yeah, sir. So next,
Okay.
next Richa will continue with IO.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be continuing with IO utilities. So basically, it is for taking the input and displaying that on the standard output from the user. So the first function which we made is put row. What put row is doing? It is displaying a row of board on the screen, given row number and the number of stars remaining. So what it is doing is it is taking int, this is a row number, and num is a number of stars which you want to print on the screen, which will be on the board, and IO. So what it will do is it will now here first thing is we can see replicate here. Now what replicate is doing, replicate will produce a list with a given number of identical elements. So here star is given, so it will replicate stars for the number of times num is given, and we will it will give different like in a kind of string. So we want to concatenate everything, and we want to put that on the screen.
Mhm.
So this is how this put row function is working, and we can see it in the output. Put row 1 is the number 1 row, and 3 is the
Mhm.
number of stars we want in that row. So 1
Mhm.
and these 3 stars. Rahul,
Okay.
next slide. And the next one is the put board function. What
Mhm.
put board is doing is, the put row function was giving us the number of repetitions of the stars for the one row. So we have made the put board function so that we want 5 rows in our function in our game. So we are calling this put row function 5 times. That's it.
Mhm.
We are doing in
Okay.
put board function. So we have given put board 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and for 5 it is displaying these 5 stars. The same way it goes on.
Okay.
Rahul, next. Yeah, and this is the get digit function. So what get digit function is doing? It displays a prompt, and it reads a single character from the keyboard. And
Mhm.
if that character, sorry, hello,
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me.
yeah.
No, I'm
So
listening.
if
Yeah.
yeah, and it reads a single character from the keyboard, and if the character is a digit, first is check whether it is a digit or not. If it is a
Mhm.
digit, it will convert that digit to int and
Mhm.
return that. Otherwise, it will give an error. Now to convert from digit to int, we have import data.char package, which has the digit to int function in it. And the last one is the new line. This is the last this is next function, and this is just for giving the new line for that. The way we were displaying 5 stars then 4 stars, so for giving next lines, this is this new line functions we have made.
Mhm.
So now Rahul will explain the next part.
So we have seen utility functions and game utilities and IO utilities. Now
Mhm.
combining them all together, we will create a new function for each turn. That will be called for each turn.
Mhm.
So here, play is a function which takes a board as an input,
Mhm.
and the which player is playing initially, the player
Mhm.
number.
Mhm.
Then first it will print the board using putBoard function,
Mhm.
and then it will check whether board is empty, it is finished or not. We have
Mhm.
seen the finish function, and if it is finished, then uh, the previous player win the game.
Mhm.
So we are printing just a string here,
Mhm.
and the player number, next player, which is pointing to the previous player only.
Okay.
If
Okay. Mhm.
board is not finished, then we will take input from the user, that player.
Mhm.
We are displaying just a message, printing new line, then player number, and then prompting enter a row number, and
Mhm.
taking it, saving it in a row, then next digit stars to
Okay.
remove. So
Mhm.
now we have to check whether given board, for the current board, given row and number is valid or not. That row
Okay.
is content, if that row contains at least that much element, stars, then we can remove, otherwise it is invalid move. So we are calling valid function here, and
Mhm.
if it is valid, then we are calling that move,
Mhm.
and that move
Yeah.
will return the board, updated board. So
No,
next
you're calling the function recursively with
yes,
calling the function recursively with this move and this raw number and the next player, and then the board will be displayed again
yes,
with this board because
up
move board row num updates the board.
board, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, and to initialize the game, we'll we create a new, this is a simple function, and just
The initial is the initial
yes,
board.
initial with initial and first player.
Okay. All right.
And so in the exercise, one modification is given. We have seen that board is consist of 5 rows, and it is fixed for that. So put board will print only 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that format only. So in that question, they asked to take it as a generalized form and modify the put board function so that
Okay.
it will work for n rows. So we have seen, initially we have given initial as a fixed 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but now we are taking initial dash n, and then list n2, n minus 1 to 1 up to 1. And put board function is modified in such a way that it will recursively, okay, I will explain. Put board, so this board is not fixed length of 5, it can be more than that. So first we zip board with the 1 to that for example, I'll show on the code only. What we are doing. Okay, so we have seen put board initial. Now it is printing 5, but
yeah,
if I give 5, 4, 2, 1, it will work. But for 6, from 6, it will not work.
it will not work.
Yeah, so I have updated put board. So it is showing for the 6 also. Yeah. Yeah. First, the given board, random size board, is zip with 1 to infinity, this list, and so it will give the tuple with index 1 to n, and then we are calling recurse this function, and it is defined as here I did if it is it contains a single tuple, then put row first of x and second of x. We have seen first and second how it works on tuple. And if it contains a multiple tuple, then we do put row for first tuple, and then recursively call the recurse on the remaining list of tuple.
1 second. Put board prime board equal to recurse of zip recurse of this thing. Put of recurse is a tuple, and it just puts off first of x and second of x, and it recurses. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
You could also.
Yeah, that can be optimized. I tried, but with monads, it can be optimized in simple way, but I'm not able to do that.
No, this is fine. What is wrong with this? It's just
No,
that
no.
it doesn't look good.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
the
It is.
ba- the
It,
ba- the base case is just a one element list. That's only thing which I
yeah.
don't like about this part because base cases of usual lists are empty list. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes that's a neat way of doing induction on list. The base case is always empty list, and the inductive case is x colon x. That's how we always wrote functions on list. Never like the base case where we assume that the list is non-empty.
Okay.
But in this case, it might not be.
Yeah, I thought
Uh,
we are calling this function from.
you could just put a empty list. You could just put a new line, for instance. That
Okay.
might take it. All right.
Okay. So Rajat will continue with next.
Yeah.
Rajat, you can share your screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I modified the code little bit to
Mm-hmm.
make that game unbeatable. Like
Okay.
uh,
So
so
now the AI will be playing against you. How is it?
it's not like AI. Just it's a fixed strategy. So
Okay.
and that's like mathematical strategy which is proven that it cannot be beaten.
So who plays? The player two plays? I mean, who plays the
No,
unbeatable
the
strategy?
the machine plays. The player
Okay.
one plays.
So
Yes.
player one is always the machine, and the player two is
The
us.
the human. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So strategies like that, we first take the board, like
Uh-huh.
here it's 5 4 3 2 1.
Mm-hmm.
I convert it to the binary form, so
Mm-hmm.
that's become the list of list, and then we calculate XOR of each column. So like
Mm-hmm.
this is the first column, so 1 1 0 0 0. So since there are two ones, so its XOR will be 0. So
Mm-hmm.
similarly for second column it will be 0, but for third column there's three ones, so
Mm-hmm.
the XOR will be 1.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the precondition for winning. Like when the machine uh, gets the control, then the XOR sum should not be 0. So this
Okay.
is the precondition. So
Mm-hmm.
here its XOR sum is not the 0, so the condition is satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Then I will change. So to make it 0 0 0 is the winning state. So to make it 0 0 0, we'll need to change one of the ones in the binary to 0.
Mm-hmm.
So suppose that the number is 5, the first one, 101. So then it becomes 100. So 100 is 4.
Mm-hmm.
So to make the first number as 4, so we need to take one stars out of it. So earlier
Mm-hmm.
it was 4 5, then I take out 1, then it becomes 4 stars. So
Mm-hmm.
now the XOR sum will be 0. So this is the winning state, and the machine will repeat. So since this is 0, the next human will get, but the human can never get 0 0 0 again, because at
Mm-hmm.
any cost it will be some ones only.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be losing state.
Mm-hmm.
So like this is the example. So this is the 5 4 3 2 1, this column wise arranged, and then I calculated the XOR sum. So XOR sum is 0 0 1. So so any of the 0th bit of 5 3 1 can be toggled to make XOR sum 0, like this one or this one or this one, any one can be changed. So suppose we
Mm-hmm.
change to 5, so it becomes sorry, it becomes 4, and then it will become 0 0 0. That will be the winning state.
Mm-hmm.
So these are some of the helper functions that will be useful for implementing. So this is a two binary
Mm-hmm.
function. It will take an integer and it will convert it into binary representation in the list using repeated division by 2. So suppose
Mm-hmm.
the two binary of 5 will be 0 1 0 1. Actually, because
Okay.
of base case, one more 0 is added. So like
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um,
And here we are repeatedly dividing by 2 till the quotient is 0, and then after that we are recursively appending the remainders to get the binary representation.
okay.
So similarly for two decimal will be needed to convert from binary to decimal. So it will take the binary representation and we will get the decimal equivalent. So like suppose 0101 will be will give output as 5.
Mhm.
Uh, for this I am actually making another list of 2's powers and then
So how did
reversing
you write 2 deck?
to just this
Two.
one. Yes. Yes, so I'm means like here this is the map function, so
Yeah.
it will access 0 1 2 till the length, and that will become powers. So 2 to the power 0, 2 to the power 1, 2 to the power 2,
Okay.
that will become powers of 2.
You
And
have
then
the
I
code
will,
with you? Hello.
yes, I have the code.
Can you just show me the code?
Yes, okay,
I think it
actually,
will be interesting.
yeah, 1 second. Just now can you see?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
this
So
is
let's
the
see.
two
Two
binary function,
binary is.
and then this is the two decimal. So
Okay. Two
here
binary is two binary.
this is repeatedly
Okay.
dividing by 2 and then till the quotient is 0, and then recursively appending the remainders to get the binary.
1 second. Binary of 0 is 0. Binary of n is 2 binary of n quotient by 2 plus n.
So at end when the quotient will become 0, then it will start appending the remainder. So that's what it is doing.
Okay. Okay. So, all right. So you add the reminder and then you call the binary again.
Yes, yes,
Right? That's what. And 2 decimal is some. Okay. You are using zip-width. That's exactly what I wanted to know. That
yes,
you are using
yes.
zip-width.
And then I'm
Okay.
summing the products
Okay.
of
Zip-width
power and
star reverse of map of the power. Okay. You just multiply it by 2 and then length of binary. Okay. That's a very cool use of the dot dot the list operation 0 dot dot length bin minus 1.
yes,
So inside the list they have used a function.
yes.
Yeah.
So that actually these are the powers of the two, and then I will reverse this because the index will be reversed, because index like the most significant bit is at the 0th position, so that's why I have to
Mhm,
reverse it. So that's why reverse function is needed.
mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the
Yeah. So when you except that all I could suggest is that in this 2 dick bin you could use a where, you know, because
okay,
right now it looks a bit complicated.
yes,
You know? So you could use a function. You could use reverse. Um, you know, for instance, the powers of 2. A
okay,
function like powers of 2
mm-hmm.
will be like reverse of map of lambda x arrow exponential 2x. That you could, first of all, that you could use without the sectioning. Why
Mm-hmm.
are you right is using sectioning? It could be just 2 power x now.
Yeah,
So that could write written using sectioning, and then length bin minus 1 you could write it as another name, you know, length of the list or something, so that
mm-hmm.
this function will become more readable.
Okay,
All right, let's go back. Count once is just an application of
uh,
uh,
yeah,
you could just
like
use
it,
a filter and sum.
mm-hmm.
No?
So it's counting the number of ones in a list. So like 0 1 0 1 is there, then
Yeah, that I understand, but you could always use is using a higher order function. You could use a filter equal to 1,
okay,
and then you could just sum it up.
yeah,
Length of filter of equal to 1. That's what is count 1.
okay,
Yeah. Next back.
yeah. 1 second. Like I will explain it from here only. Like this is bin board, so it takes a board and outputs a board. So what it
Yeah.
does is it,
Mhm.
hello.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Uh, so it maps two binary to board, means like it mapping the function to binary to board. So all the board elements will become binary.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. And this max bin length means it is finding the maximum length of all the binary representation, because the binary representation will be uneven. So lengths will be uneven. So to make all the lengths one, for XOR to happen, uh, we need to append some zeros. So for that we need to know the maximum length. So here same length bins is the function that exactly does what I told. So it takes it is map, and this actually is appending the zeros to the x, like it is in the front. It is actually replicate. So it is number of required number of zeros. It is appending to the, so after this all the binary representation will be of equal length. Uh, Next is a XOR sum function. So XOR sum functions, actually this is a multi-way if clause. So for this we need to uh, do this, because it is by default not enabled. So multi-way if, with which we can write if in lambda expression. So that's what it is doing. It's lambda x, and then it is checking if x mod 2 is 0, then it's 0. Otherwise it is outputting 1. This is exactly the XOR sum function. So if number of ones is not divisible by 2, then it will be XOR will be
Mm-hmm.
1. So that's what it's doing.
1 second. So some bins. So you have a list of you have a
This is count
list of
ones.
yeah, you
Like
have a yeah.
so I have the number of ones, like already I've counted the number of ones for each column. That's the what map is doing.
Okay.
And then I am applying lambda on that to get the number of to know that the column sum is divisible by 2 or not. If it is divisible by 2, then the XOR is of course 0.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
what it's doing.
Yes.
So that's what it's doing. Yes.
Yeah.
So next is columns or sum one. So this function gets the index of the column where the sum like XOR sum is 1. So for that, first we need to zip with indexes. That's here I'm doing, and then uh, I'm filtering like so this will become a tuple with the second element as indexes. So I'm checking whether the x is 1 in that or not. Like columns or sum, we are actually want to know that XOR sum is 1. So this is the filter, and then from this we are getting the second element, since second element is the index. So this will be the list containing the indexes where
Yeah.
XOR is.
Okay.
Yes. And this is the main function toggle, like all the columns where column indexes where it's 1. So now we need to toggle that so as to make that XOR sum as 0. So it takes a list of indexes, and then it is then the binary representation of the number, then the index, so, and then it outputs the new number. So here actually it's not like good function. Like here we need to always give 0. So here I am like continuously incrementing the indexes, and if since starts with 0, so when the index gets equal to x, then I'm checking that whether y is equal to 1 or not. If it is equal to 1, then I'm setting it to 0.
Mhm.
And then I'm again recursively calling the toggle function to check again next when it can be changed. Same with when y is equal to 0, I'm setting it to the 1. Then this just toggling the bits.
Now let's go back to your slides because I'm not able to really get what you're doing. I mean, these functions, I don't understand what you're doing.
Okay.
But see, one thing I noticed is that you're using your code is not very readable. Okay, and that's not
Yeah,
because of your quality of uh, using of functions. That's really good because you're using high level functions. You're more abstracting out and using a lot of things. That's fine. Except that you are right. You have to really modularize your code now. You have to use aliases. Where
okay.
is the where keyword is for using aliases. Okay, so you should use aliases and you should I mean, it's like this. If you have a big application of functions, like, three or more functions have to be applied, you can't just write them in one line and you can't expect everybody to understand. What you have to do is that you have to split them into 2, 3 steps. Yeah, that's what you do in mathematics also. And then appropriately name each step using a where keyword. So that you know what you're doing when somebody looks at the function, the first line tells him what is the high level picture. And then if he wants the details, he goes into each function. Okay. Yeah, that's how it should be. All right. But I'm very happy that
Then just to run the code once.
yeah.
So this is the first move. So that's taken by the machine. So it's like it's taken, earlier it was 4, then it
Okay.
has made the first row as 4. Earlier it was 5, it's made the first row as 4. So now player 2 can randomly choose any row, like suppose second row and 3. Then again machine has made some move. Then again we can make another move. Third row completely empty.
Okay.
Now the last turn will be of machine. So if I anyway I will lose. So
Mm-hmm.
this will be valid.
Four and one.
Yes. Player 1 wins.
All right. Okay.
That's how it
So
works.
so this is a simple strategy. Yeah. You convert the number of stars into binary, and then you check the source sum of all the stars, and കഴിയില്ല അപ്പൊ. ഇല്ല. Yeah, and and then you make sure that when you start, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the algorithm will be non-zero.
See,
It will
like
have
when machine will play, then it will become 0. That is the winning state.
okay. When machine will play, it will become 0.
Machine
And
will actually make it 0. So when the user will get, that will be in 0 state, but when he will make a move, then it will be non-zeros or some. So that's losing state.
why can't why can't the human player remove a no, number of stars so that it will not be 0?
So for that, user has to play first, then he can do that.
No, I
So
don't
that
understand. So if I have an if I get a configuration such that when I take the XOR sum, it is 0, then no matter whatever, whether I remove 1 star or 2 star or an entire row, it will always be it will always be non-zero. And why
Yes.
is it the case? If I remove the entire row, I can understand. It will not be
Mm-hmm.
non-zero.
Mm-hmm.
What if I just remove 2 stars? Why can't it be?
If you are removing 2 stars, then also some toggling will happen, because then it will become one only.
But what is the argument? What is the proof?
Proof, it's like I have read the proof on Stack Overflow. Like, it's little bit mathematical, so I
Okay.
don't completely understand it, but like it's proven that this is a winning strategy.
So for instance, my row had like 3 stars. Now, if I remove 1 or 2 or all the 3 stars, it will end up with non-zero.
Yes, 100%. That's proven.
So what is special about 3 is 1, 0, 1, 1. Yeah, 3 is 0, 1, 1.
Hmm.
Now, if I remove 1, it will be 0, 1, 0. If I
Yes.
remove 2, it will be 0, 0. No, it will be 0, 1. It will be 0, 0, 1. And if I remove, it will be 0, 0,
Yeah,
0.
but
Okay.
there are other numbers also in the.
Okay, so the reason is that I think the reason is very simple. That whenever I remove something, at least one bit has to change.
Yes,
Not
at
all
least.
bits cannot remain the same. Yeah,
Yes, at least one bit has to change.
and that row will have a non-zero. Uh, will have a total.
Yes.
All right, so that's a very clever argument. Okay, fantastic. So you guys have made it into AI, which was not there in the book. Yeah. Okay, very good. All right.
Thank you.
I think yeah. Let's take questions from. Questions? Hello? No questions? No questions from BTEX? Gaurav, you understood everything?
Yes, so one doubt, can someone remove 0 stars? Because in the valid function, I do not see them checking that.
No, okay.
I didn't see all the code, but maybe it must be there.
You move on. All right then. I don't know. Do you have the code?
Hello.
Hello? No, the Gaurav asked a question.
Rahul has that code,
Okay.
original name code. So maybe Rahul can.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
I was asking, can someone remove 0 stars in the game that has been coded?
Yes. Actually, the condition is not checking if the input is 0. So yes, it is possible. It is also valid move.
Then the game will go on infinitely.
Yes, if both users are giving 0, 0, then game will continue.
No, it will throw exception.
All right. Let's wind it up then. It's been fantastic. So tomorrow is whose turn?
Sir, it's Gaurav Aidasani and
At
Rahul
9 o'clock.
Bhavkar
At
Kalyani.
10 o'clock. No, what time?
9 o'clock. Yeah.
All right. So let's meet it then. And by the way, the MTechs have done really well. I mean, they have gone beyond what was asked in the paper. Yeah. All right. See you. Bye.